My name's Harry Miller, and I've been teaching non-smoking courses for around about 16, 17 years now. I haven't been around the world with them, but into America, to Britain, Canada, around Australia, teaching people how not to smoke, which is a very wonderful job to have, I must admit, because you're saving them lots and lots of money, you're making them healthier, and really it's a life extension program for them. And according to the Bureau of Australian Stats, stopping smoking can add up to 11 years onto your life, so that's not a bad bonus. I'm back in Adelaide now. I've just returned from overseas where I've been teaching some health professionals how to get a 150% success rate. And they had quite a hard week, and they had a 4-hour examination to be awarded the certificate. Here's some of the types of subjects covered in here. I hope the video shows that okay clearly. I don't know if it does or not, up or down or sideways, I don't know. But just looking through here, it was quite demanding for them. They had to pull on a lot of their resources. Most of them got through, not all of them. There was one health professional there who said, well, thank you for, he didn't realise there was so much to smoking, and now he's passing out his smoking patients on to another professional who does smoking full time now. He's a very, very busy doctor, and he really didn't have the time to spend, I guess, with his smoking patients. So, I mean, the thing is, he's doing the right thing. After all, if you wanted to have your brand new Rolls Royce serviced, you wouldn't take it to a DAF dealer. Let the DAF dealer service it, and he just wouldn't have the expertise. And it's very, very important with smoking, because, as you know, it's a very complex problem, and also it's probably the most important thing in one's life, is to give up smoking. More important than buying a home, getting married. It's really a problem area. So that's why it really has to be done professionally, but in a nice sort of way. In fact, you'll see in some of the snippets on the video as we go on that it looks very relaxed in there, totally relaxed, and nothing seems to be a bit airy-fairy. But I can assure you there's a reason for that, and that the course is highly structured. In fact, there's a definite beginning, middle, and end. Although it doesn't appear that way. So there's all testimonials on the tape too. And if you've any queries at all, you can ring me here in Adelaide now at 359 2050, 359 2050, or you can drop me a fax at 212-3434, 212-3434, and it's in Adelaide, based in Adelaide, and that's 08. So I'll be going overseas in 18 months again to America to do some more lecturing on smoking. But in the meantime, if you have any staff members, corporate members, any groups, or somebody who's a smoker, why don't you do them a favour? Drop them my phone number so we can help them. Thank you for watching the beginning, and now we'll show you how we do it. Thank you for your time. Goodbye.
Hello again. My name is Jane Thompson, and I am with the Cystic Fibrosis Association. I'd like to thank you for coming tonight. The Cystic Fibrosis Association and the Asthma Foundation got together to conduct this course for two major reasons. I think most people are aware of the effect that smoking can have for people with asthma, but I don't think many people know much about cystic fibrosis. Miller, who will be conducting the courses, to tell you more about the course itself. Thank you, Harry.
Thank you, Jane. Welcome. As you know, smoking is a very, very complex problem. How we quit determines how long we quit for. I was speaking to somebody earlier today who'd actually quit for 15 years and then he started again. It's pretty sad, isn't it? I should tell you that I've done smoking in America, in Britain, all over Australia, in Queensland, Melbourne. I've been there. And we wanted to know why these 30% of these people walked out and didn't join our course. Has anybody been in jail here because they smoked? Some people put their hands up. You see, because in some counties in America, if you go in an elevator there, you actually notice it there. Dade County down in Florida, it says anybody found smoking in this elevator will spend time in the county jail.
When I talk to a couple of your friends, you tell the people what happened there. Right. Yeah. You told me? Yes, yes. Well, I was so impressed that I sort of want to help the world to stop smoking. In the meantime, I helped a couple of friends to stop smoking which they haven't taken cigarettes in. I made them realise that the cigarette is no good for you. It does nothing for you, and that's what we have to realise. It does nothing once everybody does, but probably going on, which was about a week later, we went on.
Okie dokie. So we'll see you 7:30 on Monday.
My name is Alan Hardy and I'm from the Asthma Foundation. And I guess our motivation is perhaps a little bit different, or my motivation for being here is perhaps a little bit different from yours, in that I was a smoker myself at one stage and haven't done for quite some time. But I also suffer from asthma and know the effects that cigarette smoke has on me when I'm around other smokers. And so that's why I'm so keen to work towards having as few smokers in this world as I possibly can, because I think it does affect my health. But I know your motivation is your own health, and I think that's the way it should be too. That if you're motivated to improve your health and make yourself feel better and make your wallet feel better, then I think you've got all the motivation it takes to kick that. Not directly involved with the course, other than we are helping facilitate it. Our course leader is Mr. Harry Miller, and I'll introduce Harry to you in a second. Harry conducted courses like this with great success over many years, and I think you can feel confident that the message he's going to impart to you and the way that he's going to present the course to you, should you decide to continue with it over the next week, will be quite positive, and for you, if you're motivated to succeed, you will succeed, and that's been an experience in the past. And then make up your own mind as to whether you believe this is something for you. And if you feel positively about it, then you could, in just over a week's time, be like myself and be an ex-smoker. And believe me, the feeling is great. So having said that, I'll now introduce Harry to you. Tonight's session is an introductory lecture. It is in fact part of the course. If we were to say the course runs over 6 nights, this is session 1. There's no obligation placed upon you, but other than to give Harry a hearing and make up your own mind. With that, Harry, it's all yours. Thank you.
Thank you, Alan. Alan's quite right when he says congratulations, because I know there'll be a few of you out there who didn't want to come tonight. In fact, you make excuses not to come tonight. Because if we tell you it's $1,000, what are you going to say to me?
No,
Why?
because I think $1,000 in one pop is a lot.
If I told
For a
you,
lot of people.
if I told you it's $50, what would you say?
I say thank you. Yeah, I'll go.
Wouldn't you say it couldn't be much good? It wouldn't work for $50?
No, $50 I'll say, because the most average people, $50, right.
Yeah.
I'll say, right, thank you.
You have to put time, money and effort into anything that you wish to achieve.
Yeah.
Our price is $350.
Is it guaranteed? No,
You're coming just great.
$50 for something, no one will guarantee.
Right. Because... good question. Because there... $1 fines for smoking in elevators. So,
Actually, could I intervene here? There was a fellow, apparently the flight took off the other day. He went into the toilets to light a smoke. The alarms went off on the plane.
Yes.
Smoke alarms went off. The plane had to turn around and land. So I wouldn't like to be on his receiving end, because the cost to get an aeroplane into the air and bring it back like had to happen.
yes.
I guess he's going to be up to it.
Thank you for that. That's very interesting. It's making smokers look a little bit like criminals.
Yeah, the government should fund some smoking organisations if they are serious, because
The
Conspiracy.
government's
but
not
they've
serious.
stopped everybody in their government offices from smoking.
Mm-hmm.
They've got to go and stand out in the street and smoke. So if they're
Excuse me, we got an Ireland council at the moment that have got a smoking room, right? All the council, all the people that work for them have to go outside and smoke. Well, people giving it up.
Well, we have a cassette over here on some of our surveys, and we have some testimonials on there. Some people there have given up. Yes, they're local people. You could even ring them up. No.
What's the average success rate?
Well, I don't really know. I mean, average compared with what?
I mean, do it like our class. Do you follow up to see how many people are not smoking?
Well, we do, and they're all 2 years. They haven't smoked for over 2 years.
Say you've got a class of 20. Now, how many out of those 20 people?
Yeah, how many percent?
20, of course. Yeah, what do you think we're here for? This is gradual.
When does the deposit have to be paid?
Well, we'll take them anytime, I guess. Well, yeah. You've just got a special... You can pay next week when you come if you wish. Anybody who wants to pay a deposit tonight, there's a $40 discount.
It's 300 people a month.
It's $350. It's 310. On bank card, MasterCard or Visa, or by cheque, or we'll send you a reminder every month. Well, it's $80 a month. Right, so April, May, June. It's about what you spend on your cigarettes.
They're not talking about cigarettes and cigarette smoking. And most of the causes you quit smoking by nothing to do with what I tell you about the cause. It's by what happens in the cause. It's sort of a byproduct of the cause, of understanding. We've got a communication problem. Cigarettes, I want something really good in there, really meaty, what you really like them. Smoking a special cigarette, you know, special one to drag, special taste in your mouth that tobacco gives you. You know, if you just think of a sentence, use a couple of words or more instead of just one word. Cigarettes make me feel, so you can take us, hang up and go. If you're going to be doing some business for a while, do it for extra hours, right? Yeah. Yeah, this is when
Never let it smoke it very well, let it smoke for 10 minutes, or
this is
that's running in the system anyway, I suppose, the charger up.
yeah, this is what we're after today. So okay, that's not true. I'll prove this to you. In fact, tomorrow this is how you'll be seeing cigarettes. You'll be seeing them where they really are. Instead of it being a holiday, it won't be a holiday. In fact, it'll be upside down. You'll start to see things as seagulls, long reach, long beach. That's not true. I'll prove it to you. I don't ask you to believe what I say because I'll prove everything to you bit by bit. And that's how it'll be. The draw, hangers, give me a cigarette, give me a cigarette. Totally in control. It's dangling you. Just dangling you. It's got to stop. That's why you're here. Okay. What should we do now, folks?
Actual animals, wait, if they're sitting next to me, I can't be standing there. I'll sit across, and I can be still close, but I have to be on the other side. I have to be in front. Yeah, so obviously I have.
Well, what can we do for Jenny about this one? How can we give her some personal space?
Obviously, bigger or fatter.
You could do, and I'll sit over here, we'll have a conversation, but I don't want to be too close to people.
Yeah, most people are weird.
Not much on you around. Right? And that's what he's talking about. To say, if I said to you, oh, stop smoking, you know, you'll be able to buy new clothes with all that money you smells, that's the problem. The rest of your body repairs. And I'll show you how that works. And it's so wonderful that you're all healthy and it hasn't got you yet. Isn't it? It's got sugar. Now, cereal, we recommend... Yeah?
Oh, the breast. Well, let's just say yes.
We're walking towards the feeling of, I feel like cigarettes. That's where the words.
Fresh out of med school, I thought I was going to save the human race. I was going to find cures for cancer and eliminate disease. I was an idea. So I was a doctor. You spent a lot of time doing rounds in casualty, fixing up drunks with broken arms and legs. But I moved on.
She's going to drop Can we change now?
Yeah, do change. You think you got away?
Not big enough to lie.
I was until I told you when it came. You're right, well,
Okay, have you all got your sheets of paper? 2 sheets of paper.
No. Everybody?
Yes, mate, that's it. Well, can you put it over there? I'm going to sign that tape, so... great, really.
Aren't we good?
Really, really true. And we don't have to do it anymore.
That means you don't want more.
I'm moving the money back. Let's just believe in this. Our smoking little friend's okay. You know, just let's stay with this. And that's it. I'm a confidence. Well, they did try. So that leads me to the next thing, which is if somebody comes to see you for smoking, you've got to tell them, yes, I'll fix you, and yes, it'll be 150, 180%. They say, what do you mean by that? Well, not only won't you smoke when you leave here, you'll have a big smile on your face as well. And that's the other 50%. And if it doesn't work for you, I'll give you your money back. No. Smoking therapists who call themselves acupuncturists, hypnotherapists, or all these people are actually qualified to teach people how to stop smoking. Because when you think about it, if you go to a hypnotherapist, they'll go, you do not smoke anymore, and that's fine. If, all right, wait till I get to the acupuncturist. And if it doesn't work, well, they go off the door. Right. The acupuncturist, you know what's going to happen there, don't you? Guaranteed for sure. He's going to stick needles in you, right? But he doesn't know about hypnotherapy. And the hypnotherapist doesn't know about sticking needles in you. Right, and if that doesn't work, what happens to the person then? You might go to the doctor, and you may get some nicotine. If that doesn't work, then where does it go? So you've got all these things, and the poor smoker is becoming more and more a confirmed smoker because nothing's working for them, and they give up. We recently had the Americans a few years ago. I don't know, I spoke to Paul about it, and you haven't had him here. What they did, they come over, as Americans do, and they could market very well. And they put a whole page in paper, a whole page, and they have all these venues. They'd all be around Manchester area, London, wherever. There'd be about 20 venues every night of the week. And it was the equivalent of about £25 less, $49.95, you see, and you go there for the night and you become a non-smoker. Guaranteed your money back and the whole thing. And what it was, apparently, his friend of mine went, it was an hour of relaxation, and you had to buy a tape, and it worked for some people, just like hypnosis works for some people, just like acupuncture works for some people. But for the majority of those people who went to that seminar, it didn't work for. And let's have a think about it from the other angle. The person reads it, he thinks, oh, it's only $50. What have we got to lose? So he goes along, sort of thinking, well, it might work, might not work. His wife might send him along, whatever. And so he goes there, half-hearted about it, and it doesn't work. Now he comes out and he says, well, at least I tried. The fight he had with his little nicotine monster on his shoulder, the thing that actually took him to go there in the first place, was the thing that actually he achieved, so he didn't have to do it anymore, you know?
So I don't spend hours on that, you know, and giving free treatments. I really don't need to.
Right.
Because I address the underlying anxiety.
Right.
Remove the psychological needs from it first, and then in the fifth session they have it.
Right.
So, you know, it just is the fact that I do have virtually 100% success rate. I'm sure that every now and again somebody will start smoking, you know, maybe years later or months later, and not come back to me. There's always that possibility, of course.
So why are you here today then, Peter?
Quite simply because somebody told me there was an interesting seminar, and it's as simple as that, basically.
That's right.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
So
There's a chance to work in groups as opposed to people who would not come along for hypnotherapy, who go to places like Birch Hill. We have a hospital in Rochdale called Birch Hill, and they go for, you know, cutting down sessions. And very often they'll come back to me and say, we went there 12 months ago and it didn't work. So there's obviously a market there that won't come along for hypnosis, but who want to stop smoking.
yeah. See, what when 100% is not quite good enough, because it's too close to 99%. 150, 180%, that's what we want.
And the difference, really, you can't get more than 100%. You can get 100%. You can get 150% when they leave your premise and they've got a big smile on the face when they're happy. That's how you judge the other 50-80% on top of your 100%. Okay. So.
Tell you what, Paul, can I just come in again? I won't keep looking at. I mean, I won't dominate the seminar, but I will say one thing though, that I will sometimes, I have to qualify that they are sort of suitable for treatment, in as much as I will work with anyone unless they actually truly want to stop. Now, it is possible, and I rather think that you will tell me that you will accept anyone onto your seminars, understandably so, whether they want to stop or whether they don't.
Yes.
Now, with myself, they've got to have made that commitment to themselves that they do actually want to stop. And every now and again, someone will come along to a first consultation and say, well, I don't want to stop. My wife wants me to stop, or for whatever reason,
right.
But I don't really want to. Now, I would then say, well, I'm awfully sorry, I can't help you. So that's, it could well be,
Okay.
Yeah. So.
Well, we will. That's what we want to. They'll come along. They don't want to become. The wife will bring them, and they stop, and they're happy. And that's the key word. But also, they're quite amazing too, because I've seen the richest and the poorest families, and they can always find. They'll always have money for cigarettes.
Yes.
Always. They've got an uncanny knack of producing this money for cigarettes.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yes.
In York at the moment, we've got quite an abundance of homeless people, and they're out in the town centre especially. Nearly every street's got a couple of these youngsters, teenagers, young teenagers, sat there with a dog on a string and they're sticking in their mouth, hungry and homeless.
But how much are these cigarettes? They're
£2 packet, aren't they?
Yeah, and that lasts what?
Probably day if they're looking.
Yeah. About a month ago, somebody chased me through.
The association said it's better given on the medical side. So they've got 5 documented cases.
They're due to be replaced in the patches by inhalers.
Yes, they've been working on the spray, haven't they? But as I say, I think they rushed out the nicotine patches before they were properly tested. They were trying to get them out for like the Christmas rush, as it were, the New Year. Where he says, right, New Year, that's it. And I read in something like The Independent where they'd rushed them out prior to this Christmas rush, and they hadn't been properly tested. They'd sort of, devised these things. And yes, we've tested them, and I do feel there's going to be problems later on with them. Quite apart from the fact that some of them don't work and they fall off and that, but I think there's going to be skin problems.
Or the glucose into the bloodstream. Apart from being an addict, Kath, and spending all that money and be totally irrational, you understand also that maybe you don't know that what smoking. I'll show you in detail as we go on. Yeah.
It does.
Okay. And this stuff here, LPL, that's controls the fat rate, or the rate the fat can be sucked out of the blood tissues to be absorbed. So it sends messages to the brain with the nicotine, and it goes through, speeds the metabolism up, drives the blood sugar crazy. But what it does do also is a very important thing that a lot of people don't know, is it's got a masking effect. And this masking effect can no, honestly, we try to. I'll show you one thing in my book, what I'm doing, that I really wouldn't like you to copy. I give them to my friend. You don't give cigarettes to your friend. You go duty-free over to Spain or something. Somebody who's bringing some duty-free cigarettes back. And when you do that was... I'm not sure about the cigarette. I think I feel okay. But it's dizzy and sick and all that, but on top of all that, his blood sugar was higher. So he thought, okay, I'm not sure. Thinking, he's unsure, he's thinking, I'll just try another cigarette. Right. He had a little high there, right. But he's not convinced at that point. He has to double check it. So, but now he's down at the bottom. He's feeling low. He's really feeling low. And now he shoots right there, right to his normal level, and right there. Right. And the difference between, it's like what's happening here, it's freezing cold, and up here it's red hot. Right. That's the addiction. That's the addiction. That's what.
After the first cigarette, you feel sickly,
you don't particularly like it. At that time you could spit it out, you could carry on. You chose, for whatever reason, to carry on. You get your high, and straight away after you finish your cigarette, you drop down to your low. Because you feel low, you remember the high, you take your next cigarette, which takes you back up high again. And once you get onto that, then you're onto the addiction side. My question to that, by the way, what happens if you start later on in life? Is that the same principle?
I'm not counting 20, don't think that. £100 million a year in advertising, that's just the advertising. They spend that, it's a nicotine addiction, and mainly the brainwashing, the advertising, the hype. And this is what I address 3 stages. Putting on weight, which nobody, as far as I know, has never ever addressed with smoking. What about you, Peter? Do you address that?
Very much so.
You do?
Yeah.
Right, okay.
In a simple way. I mean, I recognise, and I'm sure everyone here does as well, that an awful lot, but really, the sort of this all-compulsive habit goes back to the first 12 months of life.
Right.
When we're all fixated, first of all, with feeding, and then with fingers and thumbs and dummies. Whenever we can get hold of course, we'll go into our mouth as infants. And so we start to cry and start sucking the thumb of a dummy, and we're comforting and consoling ourselves all in that way, and it goes back to a later life. And so in later life,
There's going to be problems later on with them. Quite apart from the fact that some of them don't work and they fall off and that, but you know, I think there's going to be skin problems. If some people, I've got a ring on my arm, what is it? 20 odd years ago you used patches, and it's like one of those things, isn't it?
Well,
I shouldn't say it, but that's my feeling on patches.
Well, we've got to find some use of this nicotine now, because they're reducing. Do you know how much they produce? They use nicotine, but tobacco. They produce enough tobacco on a daily rate, daily rate of tobacco to supply 2 cigarettes to every man, woman, and child in the world.
Well, there's a market out there where they'll try anything. They work their way down to hypnosis, really, don't they? Like Harry says, you're my last straw.
It's all money, isn't it?
Well, I mean, if you're smoking and using patches, you're increasing your intake.
Well, people get so high, don't they?
That's what she did, and she was very poor. She did it at 26, 27, and you'd have thought, God, she aged in a month.
Well, there's an article in the magazine this week about somebody who was hooked on gum. Nicorette. It goes over the heads, but it makes you sound great.
And of course, they actually control the flow of the sugar or the glucose into the bloodstream. Apart from being an addict, Kath, and spending all that money and be totally irrational, you understand also that maybe you don't know that what smoking. I'll show you in detail as we go on. Yeah.
It does.
Okay. And this stuff here, AT LPL, that's controls the fat rate, or the rate the fat can be sucked out of the blood tissues to be absorbed. So it sends messages to the brain with the nicotine, and it goes through, speeds the metabolism up, drives the blood sugar crazy. But what it does do also is a very important thing that a lot of people don't know, is it's got a mask. And this masking effect can well, no, honestly, we try to. I'll show you one thing in my book, what I'm doing, that I really wouldn't like you to copy unless you put my name with it. That it's called the Miller effect, and it's that point where you start smoking. I believe it anyway. Oh no, I don't smoke anymore. I'll take them home and give them to my brother. I said, what?
give them to my friend. You don't give cigarettes to your friend. You go duty-free over to Spain or something. Somebody says, bring me some duty-free cigarettes back. And when did you that was... I'm not sure about the cigarette. I think I feel okay. But he was dizzy and sick and all that, but on top of all that, his blood sugar was higher. So he thought, oh, okay, I'm not sure. Puts the cigarette out, it's finished, expired. And then his blood sugar goes, tries to go back to normal, but it can't, because it's been bounced up. So it sinks down here, down to the bottom. So he's feeling a bit miserable then, a bit off. There's a void created, this very, very first void that's created by the cigarette. The cigarette pushed it up, and it created this void down here. Now, at that point, he lights a cigarette, and he's never been this low before. Blood sugar's never ever been this low. Can you all see that okay?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Right. But blood sugar's so low down there, and then from there to there, that's the difference from normal to there. That's nearly twice the distance. So from a low of so low to a high of so high in one cigarette. That's the point.
That second point, is it the low and the second high? Is that it, from there?
Well, this is where he's thinking, he's unsure, he's thinking, I'll just try another cigarette.
Right.
He had a little high there,
right, okay.
But he's not convinced at that point. He has to double check it.
Mm-hmm.
So, but now he's down at the bottom.
He's feeling low.
He's really feeling lousy, and now he shoots right there, right through his normal level, and right there.
Right up.
And the difference between, it's like what's happening here. It's freezing cold, and up here it's red hot.
Right.
You know.
And that's the addiction.
That's the addiction. That's what.
And after the first cigarette, you feel sickly. You know, you don't particularly like it. At that time, you could spit it out. You could carry on. You chose, for whatever reason, to carry on. You get your high, and straight away after you finish the cigarette, you drop down to your low. Because you feel low, you remember the high. You take your next cigarette, which takes you back up high again. And once you get onto that, then you're onto the addiction side. My question to that, by the way, what happens if you start later on in life? Is that the same principle?
I'm not counting 20, don't think that.
And then none again until about...
All right. How many?
After 6. It'd be after 6.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Oh, this is 6. I can't do that. 6 a.m. in the morning. What are you doing? That's... He's looking for excuses to smoke.
Yeah.
So he's saying, well, if you stop now and you're really serious, do you realise you could have a crash? So you say, oh, no, I won't have a crash. No way. I'm killing you off, you little monster. I'm getting rid of you. And you have to drive very carefully. You don't go out in rush hour traffic. As he said, by the way, why are cigarettes the colour they are? Why are they white?
Clean.
Pure.
Pure? Yeah. Any more? You spend like £100 million, I've got pounds, not dollars, I'm talking in pounds today, £100 million a year in advertising. That's just the advertising. You spend that, it's a nicotine addiction, and mainly the brainwashing, the advertising, the hype. And this is what, I address 3 stages. The putting on weight, which nobody, as far as I know, has never ever addressed with smoking. What about you, Peter? Do you address that?
Very much so.
You do?
Yeah.
Right, okay.
In a simple way, that I mean, I recognise, and I'm sure everyone here does as well, that an awful lot, that really, the sort of, this all-composite habit goes back to the first 12 months of life.
Right.
When we're all fixated, first of all with feeding and then with fingers and thumbs and dummies, whatever we can get hold of course, we'll go into our mouth as infants. And so we start to cry and start sucking the thumb or a dummy, and we're comforting and consoling ourselves all in that way, and it becomes back to a later life. And so in later life, as we come under stress as a result of work, relationships, etc., etc., so we need to comfort and console ourselves increasingly more. Some do this by eating more, some by smoking more, and some by doing both. And a further example of this, of course...
It's good there, doesn't it? He's the president of the...
Not bad for 80 odd.
Yeah. And John Wayne, he went, didn't he? The Marlborough cowboy, just coming through Greece, just on the way here, and I might be able to show him the video, Athens airport is totally full of advertising. The big colourful signs, you know, those big ones? Not these, no, really big ones. And the Marlborough cowboy, believe it or not, they're still keeping him alive. He's still alive and he's all part of it, you know. It's all part of this this great con in outside from Melbourne, country town down there. It was a lot of fun. And I heard it on the it was a Saturday night, that's right, and I heard it on the radio. It's a country town, and I went into the newspaper shop the next morning before everybody was up. And I said, can I buy a packet? Because they were new. And it didn't arrive, but the advertising had arrived, and they gave me some advertising. And I took it back to the class. And this is the name of the cigarette, Holiday, and they're 50s. There's 50 in a pack. So, you know, you only get 20 or 35 we have. But now, have a real holiday, you get 50 cigarettes. Oh, well, I tell you what, that was a great laugh. That was so funny. Because the coin had dropped for everybody in the class at that day, and when they saw this, they recognised it as it was, as a big con. And I started off...
Can I just watch in there? You know about this thing about 4,000 poisons in cigarettes?
Yeah.
Well, obviously, there must be minute, because, I mean, the cigarette's not all that big, yeah. But then you will get the argument, like I could argue, my granddad smoked about 20 or 30 a day, and he died at the age of 90. It never did him any harm. This is an argument that we all seem to get as well, you know.
That's one of the questions in the exam paper.